Hello.
Hey, Josh.
So my first question is, do you believe that we will bring in more revenue by lowering taxes?
Yes, I believe we could reverse the exodus by folks in the state of Connecticut, and you could end up reviving the economy. Yes, I do.
You believe we can revive the economy, but do you believe we will actually bring in more revenue by lowering taxes?
It depends on what taxes you're going to lower, and the answer is yes.
Okay.
You got to have a plan, Representative Elliott. My view is got to be planned to lower taxes. We want to keep folks who are getting pensions under a certain amount of money, perhaps here, or Social Security here, and keep them in the state. If I was getting a pension in Social Security and I had a choice of living in Connecticut where I'm taxed, or going to Florida where I'm not taxed, and taking that tax and giving it to my kids instead of paying it to the state, I think a lot of people think long and hard about it.
Florida.
25% of state employees move out of the state of Connecticut.
So Florida, interesting. Do you know where we are in per capita income in the U.S.?
Yeah, I know we're one of the highest.
No, we are the highest.
Right.
Do you know where Florida is with no income tax?
No.
31. Next
And
question.
Can I explain the point of that being is that most of that income comes out of 11 towns and 11 families, if you would, within those towns, which are Fairfield. You cut off Fairfield, and we drop considerably. And the problem is our budget goes to the amount of tax that's being collected. That's how we do our budget. We are heavy, unlike Florida, we're heavy on our income tax. So those people leave because they feel like they're being overtaxed. It's programs that get hurt.
Well,
It's the state of Connecticut that gets hurt.
How come
And
they're
that's
not
what's
there?
happening.
Why aren't they there already?
Why aren't where?
The billionaires. I mean,
Well, they are. They're leaving very quickly. As Senator France would tell you, we lost one guy alone. It was a hedge fund who paid, Scott would know the number, $11 million or $18 million a year.
he had a house
You
down there.
lose 10 of those folks. But he moved out, so he's no longer a resident. You lose 10 of those, $200 million. We couldn't find $200 million the way of Probe's budget. If you asked them to find another $200 million, they'd be hard pressed.
Okay.
That's the situation we're in.
Okay. And when you talk about economic growth, are you including income for the middle class and working poor in that, or are we only worried about the wealthy?
Oh, no, middle class and working poor. That's the
Okay.
reason why we talk about funding programs like Care for Kids, which are Probe's cut. We would fund that because you need those programs to get people back to work. Absolutely.
And
you need to fund our cities. Absolutely.
How do you fund that?
Our budget will be out. I could go over it with you when it comes out.
Okay. And how do you think that continuously calling Connecticut business unfriendly, how do you think that affects our business climate?
If you're worried about someone saying that Connecticut is business unfriendly hurting, then you better care a lot more about the taxes. If it's raining outside, I'm going to say it's raining, not that it's sunny. That's just the fact. And when you see people who you own a business or involved in a business at any rate, I do, and you see the struggle that people have in running their businesses, and you see businesses folding, and you see out of the Northeast, we are the worst of the worst. In fact, I think there's something that just came out from Moody's that shows Connecticut is so far behind the whole country in terms of economic growth and jobs. We're an outlier. That's how far out we are, according to Moody's. You don't need to say we're business unfriendly. What you need to say, we're going to change it, and this is the direction. Words are not going to change it. Only actions of this General Assembly is going to change it.
So in the past 10 years, in the face of 2 income tax increases, we've gone from 4th most to 2nd most millionaires per capita. And
Sorry, say it one more time. You said it real too fast.
You got it. I'm trying to get into the buzzer. I'll be real quick. So in the last 10 years, yes, we've had 2 income tax increases. In my mind, they were not enough. That's why we're here today. That's why we'll be talking about this over and over again, because we're not doing enough to raise revenue. And we've gone from 4th most to 2nd most millionaires per capita in that time. In the face of these increases, we've overtaken New Jersey as being number 1 in per capita income. If our trajectory is we're getting wealthier, but our working class and our working poor are leaving the state because the number of people in the state is diminishing, how can you blame that on taxes? That seems to fly in the face of facts.
So how do you explain the fact that we're anywhere between 200 and 300 million just on personal income tax alone behind collections due to the top 100 earning less money?
Because
how do you explain that?
Because we make rosy projections. Right now, we're making a projection of $1.7 billion. I think it's worse than that.
So
And I think we're going to assume it's $1.7 billion. We'll find out it's 2.2, 2.4, and yet we're going to be in the same position year after year because we aren't actually acknowledging that we're not going to have the growth that we've had in the past.
So Representative Elliott, there's 2 things I would suggest. Number
Yes.
1, contact the Commissioner of Internal Rev of the DRS, being Commissioner Sullivan, who's knows this building like the back of his hand, and he will tell you that it's because the rich people are leaving the state. I didn't say that, he does, because he gets to look at the names of taxpayers. He said it at least 3 different occasions that people are leaving the state. Number 2, meet with OFA and talk about those top 100 and what's happening. And I think you'll draw different conclusions once you look at the facts.
All right. Thank you for your time.
I thank you.